All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It's Dr. Shiva. Today we're going to have an interview um, with Rebunked. And we're going to be talking about something very, very important about the reality of what's going on in the United States with the fact that the lesser of two evils model, which has been typically used by people to decide who they're going to vote for, because people set very low standards, what that has led to. I'm going to talk about how that's really led to the destruction of health in this country, going all the way back to 1970 till today, starting in really the 60s. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And I hope this will be valuable because if you hear people saying over and over again, we shouldn't vote for an independent, we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do that, we have to choose the lesser of two evils. I don't want to throw away my vote. The reality is people have already thrown away their vote by the fact that people are following and supporting people over the last 60, 70 years. I'll share with you a very powerful graph. It's really the destruction of health in the United States, and that we're going to talk about. So the destruction of health has occurred by both parties, not only one party, but both parties through the policies that they've done. So I hope that'll be valuable, but that's what we're going to talk about today. The policies of both parties has resulted in what we have today, that the lifespan of your children is going to be less than your lifespan. So that's important to understand. Your lifespan, for the first time, and this is particular in America, and this is going to go everywhere in the world, is going to be greater than the lifespan of your children. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So let me go to our interview. Let me see if we can bring him in. Let's see what's going on.
Shiva, welcome back to the show.
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent, man. Thank you so much for taking time out of your incredibly busy schedule to join me again today. So, yeah, I think, like I said in the intro, man, I've been listening to a lot of your interviews lately, and just so much what you talk about resonates with me so much. I kind of wanted, I know you generally come loaded for bear, ready with whatever's on the forefront of your mind. So I kind of wanted to give you the opportunity to just unleash with whatever you had on the top of your head, and then we can kind of go from there. I do have some questions and some things I want to ask, but what's going on in your world right now?
Well, I think the biggest thing that's going on that you can see is the you have the obvious establishment media, Scott, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now what you have is a development of what I call the neo-establishment grifter media, which involves a cabal of people who are who think it's in vogue to talk about stuff against the establishment, right? It's more of a shtick for them now, but they never really care about building anything against the establishment. And this includes people like, Joe Rogan, right? It includes people like this fool, what's his name, Russell Brand. In fact, it includes people like Jimmy Dore, sorry to say, and the litmus test of these people is the amount of publicity that they give to idiots like Booby fucking Kennedy, who words don't have anything to do with deeds. And this has been the recurrent process in American history. Typically, one wing of the establishment used to do this quite effectively, the liberal wing, right? So to sucker people back into the establishment, they had characters like Jesse Jackson, or they had characters like Bernie Sanders or AOC. These guys would mouth the words of anti-establishment, including Trump for that matter, right?
Oh, yeah.
But their goal was they have no interest in doing anything against the establishment. It's just words. It's marketing lingo. And their entire goal is in speaking that is to make people think that these people who are from the swarm, as I call it, maybe we may want, I know the swarm video is long. I think it's about 10 or 15 minutes. It may be good for people to listen to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so in lieu of that, I did find your graphic, and I was like, we could walk through this if you want, but the video itself is very.
Yeah,
powerful,
I think it's 15 minutes, but I don't think it's.
Yeah,
I think it's a good video. Should we just play it?
Yeah, definitely. Can you shoot me a link to it real
Yeah,
quick
I
and
have
I'll
it
get it
here. What
loaded
I
up?
can
Oh,
do
you do?
is let me share you my
Yeah.
screen. I'll play it here.
Yep. Just hit present and you can share from your end and we'll do it. So
Yeah,
for the people that haven't seen this, it's a great breakdown. The conspicuous establishment, the hidden establishment. Um, it's a great kind of
yeah,
breakdown of the system that we're up against.
yeah. And
So
I think, before I go into this, one of the things is, this video I did in about 15 minutes
yeah.
with a little marker and a whiteboard, but it took me 59 years to do that video. And the reason I shared that is there is a foundational science that I really want to have everyone learn. It's called the science of systems. When you
Yep.
understand that science, it's no longer opinion. You can use scientific, and to be more precise, engineering principles to really explain what's going on around you. And without those engineering principles, the problem is people are just going to follow this fool or another fool. So let me play that video for
Yeah,
you.
let's
I
do
think
it.
I have it queued up here. I think I have to do the following. Let me set it up here, and then I have to come over to you. And let me go here. Oh, I see. Okay. All right, so you can see this, right? Okay, so let me play this. And I think it'll give everyone a deep understanding of what is the swarm, very different than the swamp. So here I go. Good evening, everyone. It's Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai. How a very small set of people control 8 billion people. This is what. Hold on. Yeah, yeah. I thought I did that. Hold on, let me see it. Um, hold on. 1 second, everyone. We're going to share. Yeah, so here we go. Yeah, it is. It is sharing the audio, right? So if I share that, so that's set up here. And then I'm going to. Good evening, everyone. It's Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai. How? Yeah, 1 second. What we need to do is when I share from you, you're going to give me sharing rights, right? Okay. And then I'm going to share my screen here. Okay. Hopefully this will work. Tell me if this doesn't. Hold on, let me play it. It should work. Good evening, everyone. It's Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai. How? A very small. You can't hear it? All right. I have a different idea. Let me share it from you, and then I'm going to share your screen. Okay. Yeah. The thing is, I'm also co-streaming, right? So let's do this. Here's an idea. All right. I'm going to share from here. And now let me just do a test. You should hear this. Do you hear this? Okay. So if you hear it, hey, John, John Medlar, if I now share it on my end, do I have to hit it at the same time? Or if I share his screen? I think he'll hear it, right? Because it's coming through my speakers here. Yeah, here we go. Exactly. Will people hear it? Because it'll go through the sound, right?
Until we try.
All right. You want to see if you're hearing it, John? Okay. Ready? So
Ready to roll.
tell me,
Do it.
Tell me if you hear it, John. Ready, John? All right. So here's a problem we're having. You can hear it. I can hear it. You know what we should do? Let me just send you the link. Okay.
Correct. Yep. And then I'll pull it up.
And I'll go mute on you, right? You
Okay.
share it and we'll come back because I'll be watching.
Perfect.
All right.
Sounds good.
So let me just share it on your private chat here.
Yep.
Okay. So here we go. So that's the link.
Got
all right.
it.
So, all right, everyone. So everyone listening, I'm going to unshare you. We're going to play the video on the swarm. All right. And I'm going to, all right. And should I get off your stream and come back? All right. But if I play it, you're going to hear it from my sound, aren't you? All right. Thank you. Okay, bye. All right, everyone. So let me play. Hey, John, come here for a second. He's still in my thing here. You see, I think I should mute him, right? I think I should come back.
No, you're in his. That's his thing, right?
Not in his. Not right now. I'm not in there anymore.
Back.
So should I get out of this? Come back?
I would just mute the tab.
How do you do that?
Right.
Yeah.
Mute tab. It's like,
Okay, now I can go here. All right, everyone. So let me play for everyone as a reminder the swarm video, and I think it'll really help everyone understand what is a swarm. And I did this a couple of about a month ago. So here we go. Let's say there's about 10,000 of them. How is it these people are able to manipulate the... So here we go. Good evening, everyone. It's Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai. How a very small set of people control 8 billion people. This is what I call the elite. Let's say there's about 10,000 of them. How is it these people are able to manipulate the 8 billion people here? If you talk to a lot of naive people, they think, oh, it's the Rothschilds over here, or it's the aliens. They don't understand. It's not any one individual. It's not any one organization. There's something called swarm intelligence. If you watch all those birds flying together, not any one of them is in control. They move together as a unit. They're closely knit. They're quote unquote telepathic, but they move with a singular goal. The goal of the elites here is power, profit, and control. This is the goal. So if we look at it from a control system, what are the inputs they're sending into this system to achieve their goals? And what is the output that they seek? So if you're an elite over here and you're looking at those 8 billion people, how do you know you're achieving your goal? Are people getting fat, meaning unhealthy? Are people getting dumb, which means ignorant? Are people happy, which means are they being entertained? Are people divided? Are they isolated, disconnected? They don't want people here connecting with each other. Are people feeling helpless? Are people looking to the elites to save them? And they like that. They like when people here are looking to them, the enemy here, for their saviors. They really love that. They want people to be disorganized, and they definitely want people to be helpless. This is what they want. If you do not want to unite among people here and find who your own leaders are from below, they are quite happy. They're achieving their goal. Power, profit, and control. Now, how do they do this? You're going to realize it's not any one group. It's an interconnected, tightly knit group. They're all closely interconnected. In fact, they all go to the same restaurants. They have all their kids going to the same equestrian shows. They all shop at the same place. They all go to the same parties. You're not part of that. So who are these people? And what are the institutions of power that they have? Well, first of all, they have academia. Harvard, Oxford, Yale, MIT, IIT in India, the top 100 university presidents. These people are on boards of companies, but it's about 100 people who run the major universities in the world. NGOs, or nonprofits. These are people who run these huge nonprofit organizations like the Clinton Global Initiative, WEF, World Economic Forum, Center for Foreign Relations. And there's many other institutions like these, but it's the CEOs of these institutions. And these guys know each other. They definitely work together. The next thing you have is you have government, US senators, prime ministers of countries, advisors to government, think tanks, the Belfer School at Harvard, the Stanford Internet Observatory. They created the censorship infrastructure. This includes CIA, right? Intelligence organizations. And again, all these people know each other. They're interconnected. They're a swarm. They're tightly knit. They're not divided like these people over here. They're not disconnected. They're highly interconnected. So these people are focused on power. But then you also have a whole nother people, the CEOs of the global 2,000 companies, other big organizations like big pharma companies, Pfizer, big agriculture companies like Syngenta, big investment companies, JP Morgan. You put Deutsche Bank here. You put Epstein down here. Okay. He was involved in all this. You also have the Fed, the central banks. All these people party together. When I say party together, I mean literally they party together, guys. Absolute close-knit friends. And in fact, the CEO of a global 2,000 company will easily move to one of the investment companies down here. If you look at Target, big companies like Anheuser-Busch and Exxon, you'll find that one point, they were in one of these investment companies, and these investment companies sit on the board of these companies, and they shuffle back and forth. So this is all about making money, right? These people are about making the dollar. These people are all about power. This is profit. And then fundamentally, you have control. Hollywood over here. This includes celebrities. You have their agents, Hollywood agents, like Ari Emanuel, as I've talked about, who's a guy who controls most of Hollywood. He controls Worldwide Wrestling Federation, the MMA, etc. The media companies. This includes Disney, Viacom. This includes now Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. These are large media companies. Google, you can put in there also. You also have big news stations, CNN, Fox. And combined with this, now we have another group, social media influencers. This is like Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, these characters who have come in, but they do not exist without support from these guys. If you notice, overnight, a bunch of social media influencers have come out of nowhere. And these people are created by these people. So when you look at this, the academics, the NGOs, the government, the think tanks, the investment companies, the Fed, the big pharma, the CEOs, the Hollywood celebrities, media, social media influencers, and the news companies, and you can even take the top 10 of each one of these, they all know each other, everyone. And in order to manipulate these people, they need front men to manipulate these people with policies. Because what comes out are policies. These are the inputs they put into the system, propaganda. They feed these people purposely, people who they tell them are going to save them, like the Elon Musks or Trump or the Kennedys. Now, who are the people part of the swarm that does that? They have the obvious establishment. And these people are like the Clintons or the McConnells or the Obamas or the Bushes or the Queen of England. Typically people say, oh yeah, those guys are part of the establishment. But one of the things we teach at Truth Freedom Health, the most insidious people are what I call the not so obvious establishment. These are the people that are created to make sure that the 8 billion people look to the elites to save them. Trump, he's got a golden toilet. Mar-a-Lago, Kennedy's, completely bogus family. You can look at historically people like Gandhi or people like MLK. These people all came and were endorsed by the swarm. These people do not exist. They live in Malibu. They live in the places of the elites. And these people are the ones that are used to send the inputs of this controller. In system science, these are the controllers. These are the people controlling the inputs that go in. And remember, their goal is to make sure people are in the state of division, disconnection, and helplessness, particularly. They're observing all this. They have their sensors. And one of the features that they notice is that as long as people are in dysfunction and diseased mentally, physically, emotionally, they're happy. Well, what are those diseases these days? We see obesity. We see endocrine disruption, men with low testosterone, and people questioning their sexuality. We also see people with cancer. The world's population's life expectancy is going down. The United States is going this way, and this is from 1980 to 2020. They like this. This is life expectancy. In fact, when they see dysfunction, you know what they do? They put another input in, which is normalize the dysfunction. Eat sugars and high fructose food. Well, over here, people have been literally getting fat. It's led to obesity. Or they've been putting in foods that are affecting people's gut microbiome. This is what I call from policy to biology. People are getting worse and worse. They're actually making more money because the obesity now creates obesity drugs. The endocrine disruptors, let's talk about this. This will really explain what's going on with Bud Light. About 20 years ago, there was research done at the universities that clearly showed the use of restricted use pesticides like atrazine and other chemicals in the atmosphere actually cause endocrine disruption, which could reduce male testosterone, which could also affect mammals where the sex organs can change. And this was done by the work of Tyrone Hayes. So if you're over here at a university and you find out one of your researchers discovered that, and you are playing golf with people over here at Syngenta is the one who produced atrazine, they're going to say, hey, man, we don't want this research coming out, because you have to understand something. The investment community here is investing in all of these companies. So if you're one of these large investment companies, you're moving trillions of dollars. $600 trillion, by the way, move through the economy every day. You, as one of the elites managers of money, you're moving all this money. You know all of these people. You know the CEO of Target. You know the CEO of Anheuser-Busch. You know the CEO of Pfizer and Syngenta. And imagine that you see, wow, the stuff that we've been creating is causing sexual disruption changes. You're seeing a phenomenon where more and more people are questioning their sexuality. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that the general public doesn't understand this, because if they did, they would awaken to something that's going on from the decisions you made. So you call up your friend, Bud Light, he goes, hey, look, let's run a campaign. Let's normalize trans. Let's exploit a willing person to be exploited like this Dylan Mulvaney. Let's put them on as a poster boy for Bud Light, and let's push them out there because we want the attention to normalize a dysfunction. function, because the goal is to make sure they don't lose their trillions over in Syngenta. They're willing to take $1 billion hit over here, but they want to save their trillions in big pharma and big ag, because they're all part of the same family. They all do favors for each other. And then again, you would go do it at Target. You try to normalize it because you don't want people over here to understand the bigger picture. But you are interconnected. You could strike deals left and right. Let's do a marketing campaign in here. Let's normalize. Same thing if you can look at what's going on in obesity. All these pharma companies are making big money from obesity drugs, but there's movies on Netflix and Amazon promoting fat people as a norm. What's happening over here, you have people who are pro-fat and people who are anti-fat people. You have people who are pro-woke and anti-woke, and they don't care. So you have a bunch of these idiots writing books against woke companies and anti-woke companies. You have people creating apps, only shop at anti-woke companies, don't go to woke companies. But you guys understand that these guys don't give a damn? They're making money anyway. The investment bankers are going to make money from woke companies and anti-woke companies. But what's occurring here is people are being divided. These guys are happy because they're inputting policies and propaganda. People here are being divided, and that is the goal, to achieve power, profit, control. So as long as these people work together as a swarm to control the policies and the propaganda, and they provide false heroes, and they're using the Trumps, the Kennedys, and Gandhis, all of them who talk a big game, their goal is to make sure that you never understand this, that you keep thinking, oh, Kennedy's going to solve the problem. Trump is going to solve the problem. They don't want you to be leaders in your own communities. They want you to outsource your future to people like Trump or Kennedy, because they're part of the swarm. And you keep getting more unhealthy, more ignorant, more entertained. But most importantly, you are divided. People here don't organize themselves to smash these people up. And this is the history of human oppression. They have it down to a system, a goal. They have a controller. They have specific inputs. And they manipulate billions of people to achieve this state. They produce dysfunction. They don't give a damn if you die. The life expectancy in the United States, your children are going to die sooner than you, and they've achieved their goal. They don't give a damn. Do you understand? These people are eating organic foods. They get the best restaurants. They get the best insurance. They get the best healthcare, and this is what they want to achieve. And that's how they're controlling people. The other way they're controlling you is they want you to keep looking to the elites like Trump and Kennedy and all these people to save you. They want you to look to the swarm. They do not want you to ever support a Malcolm X or a Dr.SHIVA or you. They don't want you to become leaders. And this is a goal. As long as you're divided, as long as you're looking over here, you're going to achieve their goal of power, profit, and control. So what's the way out? How do we win? The first way we win, everyone's got to be aware of the science of systems. Without this understanding, there are goals, there are controllers, there are systems, there are intelligences, there are dumb systems. You are never going to break out of this, because you will think everything is, oh my God, we got to talk about aliens and UFOs and flat earth or this. All those may be interesting topics, but they don't come down to the fundamentals of understanding this. And the only way out of this is people here have got to understand the principles of system science. And the good news is you can learn this at Truth Freedom Health. So first of all, learn these principles at Truth Freedom Health. That's the only place. This is my gift to people. We've made it accessible to all your children. Any person who goes through the course, you can give it to your children. Anyone can learn this. But the goal is go to Truth Freedom Health and you will understand the science of systems. So we've created that weapon. And with this weapon, this is a hammer here, we have a way to smash this swarm. But without the understanding of this, without you understanding this system science, without you understanding the knowledge of systems, you will never break out of this. Please volunteer. Go to shivaforpresident.com, volunteer. And by the way, when you donate, I don't like to take people's money for nothing. I give you books and courses and access to the entire community at truthfreedomhealth.com. So please take advantage of that if you want to donate. But if you don't want to donate, volunteer. We're going to be getting on the ballot in all the states. So we need people on the ground. So go to Shiva for President, numeral4president.com, and volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. Our campaign is about mobilizing you. We have a whole program that we want to train you to be a leader. So we get connected. We're no longer helpless. We stop looking to these fools like Kennedy and Trump and all these other people, because where have they gotten us? They're part of the system to increase power, profit, and control. This is why a small set of people, the elites, to keep getting richer and richer off the backs of people. This is why these people are able to control you, because they make you disconnected and divided in a very, very systems way. This is the science of systems that they're using. There's about 10,000 people that learn the science. This is not accidental, everyone. everyone. What I'm here to tell you is once you understand the engineering physics here, we can smash these people and make a society where people are decentralized but connected. We're no longer divided, but we're united with the interests that we have to face their propaganda and destroy them and to no longer follow false heroes. And that's what this is about. Because the way we're going now, as I've talked about, those in power want to kill you. It's not a hyperbole. They want to kill you. The movement for Truth, Freedom, Health and our campaign for Shiva for President is about making sure you live long and prosper. And the only way to do it is you have to become aware of this, recognizing that there's a systems process. Fortunately, truthfreedomhealth.com exists. I wish I didn't have to go do this. In fact, our parents should have done this first. But anyway, Truth, Freedom, Health exists. Our campaign exists. So go to shivaforpresident.com, become a volunteer, become a warrior scholar, truthfreedomhealth.com. Every Thursdays at 11 a.m. and at 8 p.m. I do a open house and we have our 8 p.m. town halls for our campaign. Please join them. You can RSVP at vashiva.com/orientation. The other important you can do where we start taking control of our lives, that you start supporting one of us. I'm one of you, leaders, bottoms up. I didn't grow up in a Kennedy compound. I didn't grow up with golden plated toilet seats. I grew up like you guys. And as a part of that, make sure that you share this video. Hit the share button. Make sure you retweet it. Make sure you click the notify. Make sure you put comments on, because you know that I've been exposing their false heroes, Elon Musk and the Kennedys and all their not so obvious establishment people. So their retribution is to shadow ban me. My tweets used to get 500,000 views per day. Today, I'm lucky if I get 5,000 views per day. And then they put keywords if something starts going viral to stop that. So the way you can help is sign up as a volunteer so we get on the ground. The future is offline. I need you to go share these videos, get it out there, and become a Truth, Freedom, Health warrior. That's the ways you guys can help, contribute. Anyway, there you go. So anyway, I hope this is valuable. Be the light, shivaforpresident.com, truthfreedomhealth.com. Thank you, everyone. Be well, be the light. Have a good night, have a good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. All right, everyone. So I hope that was valuable. Let me go back to my interview with Scott Armstrong. Scott and I were having a very important interview on this. So Scott, we're back.
All right, Dr. Shiva, welcome back.
Hey,
yes, and so my audience got to see all that as well. Can you hear me okay?
Let me see if I can hear Scott. I got it unmuted.
Hello, testing. There we go. Back in business.
All right, Scott, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
So Scott, that video, if everyone saw it, I did that. I got up one evening and I decided to do that because the goal is to really explain to people at a very, very fundamental level why is it a very small set of people are able to manipulate 8 billion people? And that video is action-packed, content-packed. There's a lot there to unpack. But it took me 59 years to do that. The good news is that if you look at the arc of history, typically someone develops some knowledge, right? And knowledge is actually power. The guy who figured out how to start fire, right, had tremendous amount of power in his local village or among primates, whatever you want to say, right? Right now, about 10 to 20,000 people understand the science of systems. And with that knowledge, you're able to, it's like a nuclear physics. You're able to manipulate lots and lots of people. George Soros is a theoretician in reflexivity theory. And I think what's happened with our educational system is parents don't really discipline their kids. No one pushes people to sit down and study. Everyone has opinions. No one knows how to solve a mathematics problem. So you have a lot of people running around, but they have no skills. It takes a lot of effort for me to have done that diagram in about 15 minutes. But it's not a singular effort. It's a effort over 50 years doing the work, right? Engineers have to do this work. Plumbers have to do it. Electricians have to do it. But my goal in doing that was to emphasize to people that it's time people take a little bit of time out, sit on their butts and study. Now, truthfreedomhealth.com, I put that curriculum together. It is truly a labor of love. I used to teach that at MIT where people pay hundreds of thousands of dollars. I taught it all over the world. I tried to give it away for free. No one wanted it. So what I ended up doing was I said, look, if you're an adult, and hopefully people are adults, spend $100, take it. But then after you pass it, I want you to give it away to as many children as you want, free. I went to India recently and I gave it away to 1,500 kids in our village. Awesome. Everyone gets to be a philanthropist. You don't have to be, some billionaire to be a philanthropist. So knowledge is power. And the knowledge here is to really understand there's 9 principles of system science. Every serious engineer understands this. Henry Kissinger knows this, okay? The top 10 to 20,000 people advise all of the elites know this science. And so like Prometheus bringing fire, my goal is to achieve that, where this fire of knowledge is what I want to bring to people. And once people understand this, they will understand why I'm so hate this fucker, Robert fucking Kennedy. And when I call him those names, because once you realize this is the true devil, Biden, Fauci, Clinton's, Bush's, that's pretty easy, okay? Those are the obvious establishment. But the not so obvious establishment are the true evil, because they take advantage of people. And you have these morons like Russell Brand, Jimmy Dore, all these people promoting fucking Kennedy. And they are teaching people to basically disrespect and abuse themselves. And what I mean by that abuse is telling people that, you know what, you can fucking treat people like shit in your personal life, or say something over here, and the next day you can say something over here. In fact, you can speak with 5 different serpent tongues, and you should accept that. And they speak with such ambiguity to manipulate the different target segments of people. It's like,
absolutely. You see that with Kennedy a lot. You see that with Kennedy a lot. He's trying to appease these people over here. He's trying to appease these people over here. He's like, oh yeah, we'll probably take the guns, and yeah, we'll put Israel first and all this stuff. And it's like,
and then the next day he said, that's not what I meant, and right? But the Kennedys are masters of doing this. A friend of mine said, oh, Kennedy's reading a script, other people control him. I said, no, please stop giving this fucking idiot. He's a demon. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's trained in this. I can share with you emails. A friend of mine shared exchanges with him. He knows exactly what he's doing. He is manipulating people. People need to understand, if you just step back, how many people do you know who have a family member who drives a car drunk with a woman in it, goes off a bridge for 22 hours, doesn't tell the police, while she's dying, gets his story straight because he wants to be a senator. This is Ted Kennedy, his uncle, and then gets to be in the U.S. Senate. So that's one of his male figures. And
if that's not establishment, I don't know what is. If you can get away with that, then you're obviously playing a different game than I'm playing.
Yeah, and then you just go whenever there's a story of his brother and one of the daughters having a huge ruckus event at their home. Police come, they're spitting on the police. I mean, people really need to understand these people are not one of you. How many people know of people where their wife has hung themselves with the husband who had a diary of the conquest of other women, and the wife got a hold of it, and the wife basically wanted to kill herself, and he says, basically, go ahead and do it. And after the wife dies, then they do this big ceremony burying her body in the Kennedy compound. This is Robert effing Kennedy Jr., prays over it, has pictures take his solemn picture as though he cared for this woman. And the next day, as Maureen Callahan reported, they exhume the body up and move it to an unmarked grave. Okay? Now, you have to really understand this. Why doesn't one of these interviewers ask him any of these absolute lack of integrity? And then none of the contradictions. Hey, you claim you're for medical freedom, but you not only voted, but endorsed Hillary Clinton, not once, not twice, 3 times. Hillary Clinton is pure evil. But Robert Kennedy, I would argue, is evil to the power of 2.
Wow.
Because Hillary Clinton, loves Monsanto, loves GMOs, is pro-glyphosate.
Yeah.
And you can go down the list. Her main head of her campaign was one of the chief executives at Monsanto. So if you're a fucking booby Kennedy over here running water keepers, by the way, which he didn't start, something to clean up the water, the Kennedys always get to run these organizations where they're presented as fighting for us. Oh, we're fighting for peace. We're fighting to clean up your water. We're fighting for medical freedom. But it's just a shtick for them, where they toast their martinis and do exactly the opposite. So here this fool, this demonic fool, is telling people, mothers, give me money. I'm going to fight against vaccine mandates. He endorses Hillary Clinton on the front pages of the New York Times in the opinion piece, not only in 2012, not only in 2008, but in 2016. Then he comes to Massachusetts, flies his nephew who's running for Senate as recent as 2020, who's pro-vaccine mandates, pro-COVID vaccine mandates. and does a fundraiser for him with Hollywood people out in California. Then in his own home, when people come in, everyone has to have their vaccine and had to be vaccinated, not with any vaccine, but with the mRNA vaccine. So you add all this up, and not one of these interviewers will ask him this question. And not one of them, given I'm the one who was a leader of all of this, I'm the one who led the fight against Fauci, first guy. I'm the one who exposed the election systems. I'm the one who won a federal lawsuit exposing the backdoor portal to Twitter. And they all know this. Am I still a darkie in this country? Am I still a low caste field slave? I mean, I have to start thinking, are these people fucking racist? You have to be a white boy named Kennedy or a white boy named Trump. When I've done more service than these people in 1 year than they've done in their entire lifetime, you have to really start asking these fundamental questions. And you start realizing they do not want one of us. They do not want one of the slaves, like out of Planet of the Apes, organizing the other apes. And that's what they don't want. They want to give one of them to act like he's one of us. Kennedy ain't one of us. He can get away with everything. He can have a horrible record in school, spit on cops, get thrown out, and Papa will make a call to Harvard and get him in. I couldn't do that, Scott. I grew up with nothing. I, earned all my grades. My mom would say, if you get an A, they're going to give you a C. You're going to have to get an A triple plus. That's the environment I grew up in, hard fucking work. That's why I hate fucking Kennedy and I hate fucking Trump, because Trump let all of us down. That fucker, he kept Fauci, printed $8 trillion, more than Obama did in one term. He gave it all to his friends. He pardoned jackasses like Jared Kushner's father. I mean, you could just go down the list, on and on and on and on. And then now he's saying he's going to obliterate the swamp. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, right. Yeah, he is the swamp. He employed the swamp. The whole thing was his swamp.
Yeah. So, we go out and we hand out these little flyers on the ground because of invisibility that these racists, castists, and by the way, these people hate America. Trump hates America. Kennedy hates America. And why do I say they hate America? It is Trump who signed into law on November 16, 2018, CISA. He signed that. CISA created that entire unholy alliance between government and big tech companies. That was Trump did that. And unanimously, every person in Congress voted for CISA and unanimous consent in the Senate. Listen, people, they hate you. When my lawsuit was going on, the most important lawsuit in American history in the last 150, 200 years, exposing this thing, fucker Carlson didn't cover it. Glenn fucking dweeb Greenwald didn't cover it. None of these grifters did. And the reason they didn't, they don't want to give the limelight to one of us because they're afraid. First of all, they're selfish. They're going to lose their views. They're afraid of becoming irrelevant. And they actually hate this country. So we have to recognize these people hate you.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that.
And they hate America. They hate the foundational principles, Scott, of America, which is Congress shall pass no law to abridge freedom of speech. On November 16th, 2018, Trump signed into law a bill by Congress which abridged the freedom of speech by the creation of CISA. These people they all hate this country, period. And that's why they hate people like me. They hate people like you, and they hate everyone listening here. So they have to shove down people's throat at Kennedy. I mean, it's incredible. I used to get 500,000 views when I said, hey, Elon, why don't I become a Twitter CEO? And the day I started exposing him, it went like this. And you can see it on a beautiful graph as 1 + 1 is 2. And all of these conservative dickheads from Dinesh D'Souza to James Woods, all sucking off Elon Musk because they want to get the views. They're selfish, guys. They don't love this country and you can test a litmus test. Any podcaster who does not put me on, and I say this, it's black and white. Why would you not put a guy with 4 degrees from MIT who's done all this service, exposes stuff, is running for president, Fulbright scholar, has written, my credentials cannot even compare to their credentials. And the reason is they hate this country and they hate you. It's the only, and they're not patriots. They're against this country.
You hear that, folks? We love America right around here because Dr. Shiva always always an open invitation. So yeah, that's awesome, man.
But people,
here's what I got a question.
But people need to really understand this, Scott. They hate you. They hate America. They're not patriots and they're selfish.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So we talk a lot about, the downfalls of all these people. And there's been times in my life where I fell into the trap of falling for the false idol. Last time you were on the show, that was the focus. No false idols, smashing these idols who we then outsource our thinking and even our freedom to. It's such a dangerous state to be in. But I want to hear what I'm curious. And okay, so I'll say this. So Robert Kennedy, I see what his appeal is. He speaks to the part in me where it's like, this is the first guy that's talking about vaccines. This is the first guy that's talking about all this stuff, right? So I see what the appeal, the mass appeal. It's like the first time we've ever been spoken to this way, but we've seen this before. We saw it with Trump. Oh my God, this is the first time he's ever like talking back to Hillary Clinton. This is the first time the perception is that he's talking back to the establishment. So it's the same script 4 years later of somebody talking back to the establishment and giving the perception that they're outside of the establishment when they're in the establishment. And it's very valuable to tear those idols down, because that is so dangerous. It's so dangerous because we saw what happened in 2020 when we outsourced all of that to this false idol. You saw what happened. You got what you got. And, there's arguments that are made that if Hillary Clinton were in office, there's no way they would have gotten away with what they did, because we would have revolted on day one. But because they built up that idol in Trump so powerfully that everybody was willing to just sit back and let him do whatever he wanted. Right. And I see the same thing happen with Kennedy. And so I'm like, I've been down this road before. I've fallen for this before, and I'm not falling for it again. But here's what I want to ask you. So we talk a lot about these idols and tearing them down. But what I want to know, speak to that part in me, Dr. Shiva. If you're like, when you become president, let's just say when you become president, tell me, how are you going to revamp the system? How are you going to address vaccines, COVIDs, lockdowns? How is that going to be part of your platform as president?
So, Scott, the answer to your question lies in you. Okay. Let me explain what I mean by that. One of the things we teach at Truth Freedom Health is we teach history from a systems perspective. Okay. So we got to go back to history. And how has real change ever occurred? And it's a very important question to ask. The answers are right in front of us. Real change, and let's talk about real change, eliminating child labor, for example, putting in clean water systems, infrastructure, building highways, roads, all those kinds of things, right? How did, 1963, when the measles vaccine came out, by that point, 98% of measles was gone. How did we get rid of measles? Was all the infrastructure that we built, okay? Well, how did those infrastructure come into being? And when you go study this and you peel away all the layers of the onion, you find out that whether it was in the United States or anywhere, in India has a caste system, right? We are considered the lower caste. You won't find a lot of Indians like me. You'll find this dumbass salesperson that they had to find, Vivek Ramaswamy.
I was going to ask you your take on him.
He's a douchebag, okay?
Yeah.
He's a Brahmin, okay? Comes from the upper caste. He's never experienced he's never had to struggle. I've had to struggle, fight injustice like everyone else here today, right? This guy's a complete swamp creature. But the key thing I want people to recognize, when you study all of these, in India, they said people of my background were dumb. And there was a very important leader, had 8th grade knowledge. He made sure people in the school systems were fed one lunch, protein, because people of my background weren't getting any protein, right? And in one generation, you see people change. So why am I telling you this? And how did he do that? A bottoms-up movement. History always moves forward when the slaves organize, independent of the left or right or anyone from above. I'll repeat that again. History has always changed when we independently, not just use the word independently, the adverb organize, independent of them. So the reason they don't put me on all these shows, Scott, or Fucker Carlson waited 2 years to conceal my stuff, is because I'm independent. Mm-hmm. They don't want uncontrollable people being given the limelight, because we don't have any alliances to any element of the swarm. This is very dangerous. So in the 1800s, 4 American workers got shot and hanged for fighting for the 8-hour workday in the United States, hanged. And 99.99999% of Americans don't even know this. Why? And in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 7 American workers were shot by the National Guard fighting for all of our parents' rights, the 8-hour workday. All right? That was known as part of the great upheaval in American history, which again, no one is taught. because they don't want to mindset people. Wait a minute. The only way change comes is when we link arm to arm with our neighbors. And by the early 1900s and 1920s, these movements, not movement by Trump co-opting the word, or Bernie Sanders or fucking Kennedy, real movements led by women started in places like Lowell, Massachusetts, right? Women led these movements, and then the men joined. And those movements led to the elimination of child labor, led to us getting roads, led to us getting us pipes with clean water. The elites never wanted to give us any of this. A gun was put to the head of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He didn't want a revolution in this country, so they threw some reforms. But they were really, really upset that they had to even give that. You see, so the elites came back with a vengeance in 1950. With people like McCarthy, they branded all these truly organic bottoms-up movements as communist, socialist. 90% of people haven't even read the Communist Manifesto. They don't know what they're talking about, right? But they branded all these movements as though they were controlled from the Communist Party of the CP, Russia, right? Soviet Union. Concomitantly to that, they did some genetic engineering of these movements. They genetically modified the movement so all the leadership was taken over by, quote unquote, the left. People like the Kennedys, the Jimmy Hoffas, right? Overnight, all the union leaders, before their bottoms up organic movements, were hijacked. And they realized that we would never, ever in American history, ever want people building these organic bottoms up movements. Why? I'll give you the numbers here, the economic numbers. During 1900 to 1970, a RAND report came out, you can go look it up, exposing the fact during 1900 to 1970, you look at the different income quartiles. First income quartile, people make, 0 to 50K. Second income quartile, people make 50 to 100K. Third income quartile, 100 to 500K. And the fourth income quartile, 500. Okay, so 4 income quartiles. During 1900 to 1970, as the American GDP, as America was booming, was growing. That's why immigrants wanted to come to America. It was a wonderful place to be. That's why my parents came here, right? They saw this booming economy. Why did that economy boom? It boomed because as this economy boomed, everyone's wages increased. Everyone, all income quartiles. It wasn't like we just favored the fourth income quartile. And why did that occur? And again, you find out it was because of mass movements. The unions, the bottoms up unions, were really powerful unions. There were close to 150 to 200 million people who took to the streets in this country to protest, to demand a fair wage, to demand their rights. And that put the fear of God into the elites. And if you look, there were 11,000 strikes during 1900 to 1970. About 250 million, 200 million American people would go out and, boycott and strike, and really good, community building stuff. Now, the elites didn't like that. After McCarthy and the right wing chopped off the legs of American workers' movement, calling them communist, and the left took over them, by 1970, there were no more movements. So if you look from 1970 to 2023, the GDP has again grown. But it hasn't grown. It's only grown for the third and fourth income quartile. Their wages grew. But the first and income quartile, they've actually shrunk. And it was basically stealing of wages. And Rand calculated it to be $47 trillion. So over the last 53 years, $47 trillion of wealth got transferred to the third and fourth income quartile. And if you look at during this period of quote unquote COVID, 600 billionaires made $2.3 trillion, where small businesses got destroyed. And this was done by Trump. So now you need to look at this architecturally. The reason I shared that background is the swarm does not want us linking arms with our own neighbors and building a movement. Now, when I put this sign up, why am I running for this? Well, first of all, we've created a brand equity since 2020. 500 million people over the world know Dr. Shiva. Wherever I go, people have heard about us. One of our people came to our open houses in New Zealand. She said, I went to a big political meeting, thousands of people. And I said, how many people know Dr. Shiva? Half of them did. Scott, everyone knows us. Mm-hmm. They know what we did. That's what they're scared of. So they have to actively make me invisible. They don't even want me involved in any controversy. They make Trump, quote unquote, controversial. They do the theater. They do the theater with Kennedy. And the reason they're doing this is they don't want you taking a flyer like this, and you'll see me handing these out at the train station, which talks about the reality, the lesser of two evils is killing your children.
I love that.
There's that graph. What do you see? That red line is a life expectancy sinking in the United States. The gray line is elsewhere. Both of these fucking parties, Trump, Kennedy's, left and right, have destroyed your children's future. Your children are going to have a shorter lifespan than you. And just think about that. So you're going to live, I know many examples of somebody living to 90 and their sons already died when they're 60. That's unbelievable. So this is going to become the future trend. So if you look at this graph, this has been brought to you by Kennedy's and the Trumps and all of these people. And on top of that, a guy like me who's busted his ass, won every freaking award, got all the achievements that they demanded of me, I'm being made invisible. That's like being a political dissident. The fact that I was thrown off Twitter for exposing the backdoor portal, and I'm still now by that fucking apartheid racist motherfucker, Elon Musk, I'm in a digital cage because he grew up in apartheid. People like me were kept in siloed and had to walk around with IDs as citizens. That's where Elon Musk comes from. People really need to understand the level of hatred these people have against working people, black and white. So we need to build a bottoms-up movement. So now the question comes, so look, Scott, everyone comes to a point in their lives. Do you accept the way the world it is, or do you want to change it? Some people are complacent. I'm just going to accept the way the world it is. I can't do anything. I'm just going to go to my farm. I'm going to raise my pigs and my corn. I'm going to have my own organic food. I'll have my little community. Forget the fact that poison's coming from the sky, right? That's one thesis. Become complacent. The other model, you say, no, I want to change the world. At that point, the establishment only offers you two options right now. Run for office, talk to your congressman, call your right electoral processes. The other is file lawsuits. Both of those lead to nowhere. The lawsuits are controlled by judges who are appointed by the swarm. They may give you a few victories, as they gave in my lawsuit. At the end of the day, they wanted me not to go after the government. They try to co-opt me. So that's the judges, the judicial system. The electoral system is all run by lobbyists. You have to bow down to Zionism, right? You have to bow down to Sheldon Adelson. You have to bow down to XYZ Corporation. You have to bow down to Big Pharma, right? So there's no way. So the issue is, how do you win? Well, the only way history shows is building movements. Now, if you come to that and you overcome Kennedy and Trump and you realize, wait a minute, whenever people start to rise up, and you can go back to 1970, the establishment created a new technology. I call it the not so obvious establishment. Before, they used to just hammer you, right? Shoot you, attack protests, right? Release dogs on you. And they realize, whoa, if we do this, we're going to have a problem, because we're going to have people creating martyrs. They're going to create martyrs, and people will worship their heroes. So we're going to create false martyrs and false heroes. So they created, if you go back to, Kennedy, JFK was a false hero. The guy was an asshole. He had venereal disease. Okay, should never have been even allowed. He was disqualified from going to the Navy. They beefed him up. He blew up a ship, a big blunder in World War II. The father paid off all the PR people because he wanted to get him to the White House. And this guy was a total scumbag. He's made into Camelot, nice pictures. He's the one who got us into Vietnam, escalated the war. Then RFK furthermore escalated it. So they made the Kennedys seem like they're some great people. It was John Kennedy who created the 1962 Kennedy Vaccination Act, which created the entire CDC corrupt infrastructure. Then the brother, 1986, is the one who created the National Vaccine Injury Program to protect all the vaccine injured people, okay? And then this fool, Robert Kennedy, very sly demon. I think I'm the one who found that video where he goes, I'm pro-vaccine. I'm emphatically pro-vaccine. I vaccinated all my kids. And then he goes on to talk about how he's going to dismantle this corrupt infrastructure and then give us safe vaccines. The bottom line is, look at the entire thread. Government has some right to be into your life. Safe vaccine or unsafe vaccine. The entire 1962 Vaccination Act should go. So what would I do? The 1962 Vaccination Act should be repealed overnight. Government has no right to put anything into your body. And that's what the 1962 Vaccination Act did. And then instead of getting rid of it, they further protected Big Pharma. And who did that? Fucking Ted Kennedy, another Kennedy. And this fucking Kennedy is speaking from 10 sides of his mouth. I'm pro-vaccine. I want full vaccination of all Americans. But we need safe vaccines. How are you going to get safe vaccines, doofus? He's going to take this corrupt infrastructure and he's going to add more government bureaucracy. So you have the JFK Kennedy bureaucracy, the Ted Kennedy bureaucracy, the vaccine courts, and now more bureaucracy to create safe vaccines. All the shit needs to go away.
Yeah.
We need to focus on building natural immunity. Period. Kids should be playing out in the dirt. Now, that doesn't require a lot of money. Everyone knows in 2020, I saved millions and millions of people's lives with my protocol for vitamin D, quercetin, zinc, everything. Didn't make a penny off that. Others took my protocol and bottled it. But the bottom line is that if you look at this entire thing, they want us, Scott, to bow down, to always look to them. And it's time that Americans realize, you take this graph, the lesser of two evils, this is where it's gotten you. Okay? That's where it's gotten you. So if people want to be dumb fucks and say, whoa, Dr. Shiva, you're running as an independent. How can you win? Oh, I have to vote for the lesser of two evils. Well, that means you hate your children, because your children are headed to already going to live less than you. So we need a systems overhaul. So when you come to that point, Scott, you go, well, how do I do a systems overhaul? Okay, I get it, Dr. Shiva. How do I do that? How do I build a movement? Now we're asking the right question. Well, how do you build an iPhone? How do you build this iPhone? It didn't just happen. Well, first of all, you needed to know transistor theory. You needed to know physics. You needed to know how to package stuff into a small thing. There's a lot of material science stuff here. This is pure engineering science. How do you build a light bulb and mass? It's engineering science. How do you build an airplane? It's engineering science. So do you think we're going to be able to build a movement because, hey, I'm going to build a movement? No, there is an engineering physics. And I have discovered those principles, no different than Newton understanding the physics of how to build a bridge, which became the field of civil engineering and mechanical engineering, no different than Maxwell, who figured out the laws of, electricity and magnetism, which is why we have all light and, motors and all this stuff. I have figured out the laws of liberation, which come from the science of systems. The elites know these laws, and they use that for power, profit, control. Now, if I'm telling you that I've spent, because of where I come from, my journey, my quote unquote hero's journey, right, has been to uncover this and bring it back to people so we can liberate ourselves. Either you're going to say this guy's crazy, how dare he make such a statement, or you're going to say, wait a minute, is he actually truthful? And you look at my entire history. And that's where we're at. That's why we're running for office, because they have the obvious establishment, fucking Joe Bidens and the Clintons and the Bushes. And now they know people are getting it after the work that our movement did. We have to take credit for that in 2020. Because of that movement, then the grifters came in, the grifter MDs, the grifter podcasters, right? To try to take away the limelight. Oh my God, we can't give the light over here because this guy's independent of us. So every Tom, Dick, and Harry starts talking about mRNA vaccines. But you didn't say shit in 2020. Fucking Bhattacharya, that other brown, they keep finding Indian guys to cover me up. And
man.
This other Bhattacharya, that fucker was promoting lockdowns in a scientific paper in early 2020. So everything is amnesia. Look at what these people did in the epicenter of the storm. Were they silent? Did they run like chickens, or did they speak out? I'm the only one who spoke out at the level of reputation and credentials I had. Put my butt on the line and got on the ground. Kennedy was promoting lockdowns. So that's the first thing, Scott. It's a major mind shift. And what's fascinating is 2023, we have hundreds of thousands of people now who are getting this. Wait a minute, what Dr. Shiva has always told us is truth. He's always told it ahead of time. Why the fuck am I not believing on Kennedy now? Why the fuck am I not believing on Trump? He called out Fauci. He called out the lockdowns. Am I going to go listen to fucker Carlson? Mm-hmm. Am I going to go listen to Alex Jones, who's an entertainer? Am I going to go listen to Joe fucking Rogan, who's owned by a $2 billion corporation? Who are we going to listen to? Are we going to listen to one of us who has our interests at heart? Because I'm one of you. No one else is sharing this fucking graph, dude. No one is talking about that graph. So all of these fucking people have no right to talk. They should shut the fuck up because they've passed policies to destroy our biology. And it's not any one thing. It's not the vaccines. It's a system of interconnected policy, Scott.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I have to say, I still get a lot of my entertainment from Alex Jones. That guy cracks me up so hard, dude. It's so hilarious. Yeah, but I understand it's entertainment.
So look, if you want,
Yeah.
so in the old thing, you watch Sanford and Son, or you watch,
Yeah, I know. Totally.
And now they are, it's sort of sinful. They're taking the real suffering of people, packaging as entertainment. So the frontal lobe of your brain develops learned helplessness.
Sure.
And so you don't really take action. Our movement is, hey, go get a bumper fucking sticker.
Totally, man.
Put it on the back of your car, 100,000 people. Go and download. We've open sourced it. Go download a flyer. Go use your public, libraries. Yeah, there you go. Go use your public libraries. There's a card. Download it. Okay? Hand it out. Because we know that what I'm experiencing right now, Scott, is no different than the caste system I experienced in India.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. It's an active concealment.
Yeah.
I think I think I deserve to be heard, but they actively conceal me. It's like active concealment. If I would consider a thoughtful leader, that at least people deserve to know. I mean, Kennedy's actually not shadow banned. And he talks about censorship. I'm the one who should have been at the hearing, at the subcommittee hearing. I'm the one who discovered all that. Jim Jordan, another doofus. Thomas Massey, another fucker. All these people are funded by big tech. It's all a show. It's all, attack Biden, Hunter Biden. Great. Okay. If you hate Hunter Biden and you think he's corrupt, well, let's put the lens also on Jared Kushner.
Totally.
Right?
Let's please. Yes. Can we do that, please?
Yeah. And if you look at the rabid fucking racist Zionist talk Kennedy gave with that fucking Shmuley Boreach, I mean, it's nuts. I mean, let's just think about it. The people who came to Israel from Europe were Khazarians. I mean, even a Judaic scientist has shown this. They weren't Semitic people even. 90% of the Arabs there were Semites. In fact, there were Arab Jews there, going back to the time of Hebrews. These people were destroyed. I mean, if you care, if you're saying, I feel for the Native Americans and the slaves in America who were abused, well, that's what the fuck these people did to the Palestinians. And you have this racist fucking Zionist scumbag, Kennedy, doing that because he needs the likes Sheldon Adelson in his past, but he needs that, Zionist lobby's money. And I mean, this guy's speaking from 10 different tongues. And no one will challenge him on this. I mean, I've run protests against, and Zionism, Judaism, and Israel are three different concepts. They conflate all of them on purpose. But the bottom line is, when you bring it back to you, if you're an American right now, or if you're a citizen of the world, this graph is what you should be really looking at. Yeah. Because your child is going to have has a shorter lifespan than you. And this pattern is going to go global. And who did this? It wasn't Joe Biden. It wasn't Trump. It wasn't Reagan. It wasn't Kennedy. It was all of them. All of them have been destroying your health. And it's not any one thing. It was Obamacare and the destruction of the environment and Monsanto. And, but fundamentally, it's been destroying your immune system. And so here we have somebody like me who understands policies and is a freaking systems biologist from the number one institution in the world who's dedicated his whole life to understanding systems. Why wouldn't you want me as your president of the United States? And what would I do as president, Scott? The presidency is corrupt. The legislature is corrupt. The judiciary is corrupt. I'm not going to say some stupid, dumbass shit like drain the swamp and bring in the swamp. I would do videos like this with you every day.
Awesome.
What I would do is I would use a bully pulpit. You know what? I say, look, I'm surrounded by a bunch of fucking swarm creatures.
Yeah.
Guys, you have to do the movement. Let me train you what the fuck we have to do to cause a revolution. Understand this graph. Let me tell you, the Health and Human Service is a bunch of full of shit. You guys, bottoms up, need to do boycotts against your state governments. We need massive strikes in this country. I'm just your president here. You brought me in, but I'm going to use this fucking bully pulpit to educate you on everything I've been doing. The backdoor portal exists. Elon Musk is a douchebag. All these people in Congress are douchebags. That's what I would do. But I would reach 8 billion people, dude.
Yeah, you got my vote. You got my vote. I want to see you in the Oval Office just dropping the hammer like this, dude.
What did fucking Trump do there? He get in there and brings in fucking Bolton.
Nothing. Yeah, nothing, dude.
He brings in a fucking daughter who's a nitwit.
Yeah.
You know, he brings in his
Yep.
douchebag son-in-law. I mean, this, and Trump, all of his businesses were tanking, man. He's gone up like this in every business. Oh, well, you know, he gave a lot. Bullshit.
Yeah.
His golf course just made $500 million. When I had a 2-hour meeting with him, it was like, what the fuck did you do with all that money you raised off my work? All my election system stuff, you made $500 million. So people need to recognize these people aren't one of us. Repeat after me. They are not one of us. They are not one of us. They are not one of us. And when you get that, you will realize Kennedy's never going to let you into his fucking compound. He's not going to let you bang all the women he bangs. He wants them all for himself. He sticks himself with testosterone, legal steroids, which, by the way, is a $250 billion industry for big pharma. And it has a 10,000 times more chance a legal steroid will cause a blood clot than even the mRNA vaccine.
Damn.
So this guy's a fucking douchebag.
Yeah.
He had people have to be mRNA vaccinated into his own home. Then he blames his wife. How many couples who took principled stands broke apart? This guy's a leader. He's a fucking douchebag. Fucker, man.
Yeah, man.
Fucker.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. I feel the frustration.
No, it's not a frustration.
Yeah.
We have to have righteous anger. And they've sapped that out of men. Where is a righteous anger at the fact that you're being fucked? Where is that righteous anger? And so people tell me, oh, Dr. Shiva, you know, you should be more presidential. It's like, shut the fuck up. What do you mean be more president? Who decided what is presidential? Who decided you speak this language and fuck over people? Kennedy said personal integrity and public integrity are two different things. He's telling you, I'm going to speak like this. And then back end, I'm going to fucking do heroin. I'm going to do fucking steroids. I'm going to cheat on you. I'm going to lie. I'm going to say this and that. And if this is what you want, if your consciousness is lowered at that level, you're going to get snakes and serpents as your leaders, and you will get darkness. But if you want to raise your consciousness, then man, go to Truth, Freedom, Health. Get a fucking flyer, because you've never had someone like me, one of us, get to this level. Guys like me should have sold out long fucking time ago. But because of my fucking righteous hatred against these people and my love of working class people and love of where I came from, my loyalties are unfucking perturbed.
Yeah, I love it, man. Well, I hope we get this message out as far as we possibly can. You know, even my question earlier is kind of flawed. It's like, oh, what are you going to do to fix things in the White House? Because that's not the case. The truth is that it does come back to us. And that's something that I talk about on this show all the time, something that I try to do focus shows on, because we have to control the things in our lives that we can control, which is our health, which is like the people that we associate with, our community, and the activism that we do in any way, shape, or form. Like, this is part of my activism here, getting these episodes out. So it comes back to us, folks. We have to stop outsourcing everything to other people, and we have to do it ourselves. Let
me give you the solution, okay? And this is not a sales pitch. I'd be remiss if I didn't do it. Here's the solution. What's the slogan? My great-grandfather said, get educated or be enslaved. Yeah, the guy who invented emails now created another technology. It's really an innovation. I don't know what to call Truth, Freedom, Health. It's a system, it's a community, it's technology, it's all those things. But what's the problem we're addressing? We have about 500,000 people now. This number's got to be changed in 120 countries. Think about this, Scott. We didn't even take ads out for this, man. It's just doing those videos. And when you look at this, when you go look at the people here, they're everyday people. You should go look at their stories of transformation. There's no celebrities here. And we have a history of winning. Our movement fucking wins. It inspires people. But most importantly, what is the problem we're solving? You see, everyone here has got their freaking iPhones, and you can do all the shit you want. You can get tons of information. What do I eat? What do I do? How to fix my washer, right? But in spite of all that information, our lives are not more truthful, more free, and more healthy. Look at the data here, Scott. Just look at that. Okay? This is conservative. In about 5 years, 50% of the world population is going to be obese. 40% of people want to overthrow their governments right now. Close to 700 million people are anxious and depressed. So information does not make us healthier, okay? Or more true. And this is a systems drawing here. So simple pedagogy here. Lots of information, but it goes through the lens of ignorance. But what is ignorance? Ignorance is, I don't show you the whole elephant. I just put a blindfold on you, show you the tail, or let you touch the tusk, right? And you have a very blinded view of reality. So now you're confused. You get desperate. Oh, shit, the only way to change the world, I got to get guns and start shooting people, right? Or let me just go be a yogi, sit under a tree and drink some wheatgrass all day. Or I'm going to vote for left or right. And this is where they want us, Scott, in one of these 4 buckets. Now, the way out of this is when you recognize, and this is where the wisdom comes in. And I've had to do the custodial job, cleaning out the toilets here and hitting the not so obvious establishment. These people, like you just said, Scott, are entertainers. So the left has them, AOC and Bernie Sanders. These people have never held a job. Fucking dumbass gurus like this guy, or Trump, or, fucker Carlson, Joe Rogan. And what is the way out? Well, when you, again, go to a systems approach, you realize there's a difference between knowledge and information. Knowledge is the ability to interconnect information to get to wisdom. And in order to go from information to wisdom, there is a scientific set of principles. You can just interconnect shit and get to nothing, but there's a way to do this, and that's the science of systems. The elites learned this, man. I learned it. I used to teach it. So, and when you get this, you get clarity, right? You want to get organized. You want to get innovative. You want to become a very powerful member, a leader. But in order to do this, Scott, people have got to become their own gurus. They got to let go. And that's what I put together, Scott. This has been separate from the invention of email, Cytothov, Echo Mail. And what we've done is we've put together, what does it involve? It involves courses. This is like getting an MIT course, but ours is a learn, teach, and serve model. You will understand the principles of systems. You will understand biological systems theory. You will understand why we need to build a movement. And then I give you books, all right? Then how your body is a system. I give you theory papers. It took me 20 years to build a way that you could use these same principles, long, separate from diets. You can actually become your own doctor in a sense. Understand how the 3 forces of nature play out on your body, how each food, exercise affects one of those 3 forces. You start becoming an alchemist in a powerful way to understand when your body's off course, how you can use food. You understand food as a system. You understand you have to commune with other people. And we do once every 2 months special lectures. We did a meditation lecture. We did one on cannabis. We did one on gun violence, but using a systems approach. Then we want people to teach others. We have a way you can teach others. I do one-on-ones, but we have an amazing community because it is community that really helps you live long. And then we have tools like the ones you just showed, Scott. And then we've created our own infrastructure, our own version of Facebook or Twitter, et cetera. And all of this was done really as a labor of love because we need to educate people how to build a movement. It's like the university of revolution engineering, civil engineering, aeronautical engineering. You understand the principles, but you got to get on the ground. You got to go meet people. You got to go connect. You got to talk to your neighbors. You want them to understand this, and you got to distill it. So that's real activism. And they don't want us doing that. They want us to be activists every 2 to 4 years, pushing a lever, filling out a thing. And then have some political discussions. Who are you going to vote for? What do you think about Trump? What do you think about his indictment? Okay, then you go back to your work. That's not how change has ever occurred. What the main sites people should go to is truthfreedomhealth.com. Become a warrior scholar. Every Thursday, Scott, we do a very special thing. We have hundreds of people coming up, 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. People can literally come to an open house. People get to meet some amazing people from all over the world. We get people who are getting over the hump of Kennedy and Trump, right? And it's very beautiful to watch. We had a medical doctor who was out on the West Coast. He saw Joe Rogan's podcast with Kennedy, right? Rogan follows me. You would think he would have put me on by now. Yeah, people are putting this fucking scumbag Tate, whatever the fuck that idiot's name is, right? But they want to entertain people. But Rogan had Kennedy on, and this guy saw it. And he goes, "Oh my God, I was going to give like $25,000 to Kennedy, and I thought he was great." And he goes, "Then I came across your video. I found it randomly, by the grace of God. It was you exposing Kennedy, exposing Rogan." And he goes, "For 2 days, I was in cognitive dissonance because I knew what you were saying was absolutely true, but I had to have the courage to let go of all that shit in my brain, the Kennedys, the quote unquote, their martyrdom, which is all bullshit." So that is what the order of the day is, Scott. So that's why we decided to support independent podcasters like you, to do interviews like you. You guys have been on track, and that's how it's going to happen. We have to recognize they do not want real truth coming out. They will make us invisible because it's too dangerous for them. Great. Thank you, Scott. Yeah. So, be well. So, yeah. So I'm still broadcasting myself here. So I'll keep going. So to everyone listening here, that was Scott Armstrong with Rebunk. I appreciate Scott. We need more independent podcasters like him. Scott, I'm going to play my Shiva for President video, if you don't mind.
Cool. No, go ahead. That's great.
So to everyone listening, we're at a very important time in history. And what I ask people to do, simple actions you can do, is go get a little bumper sticker. Very, very simple. Anyone can do this. Put it on the back windshield of your car. 100,000 people per day see it. Where do you get it? Go to shivaforpresident.com. shivaforpresident.com. You can volunteer. It's very difficult for me to ask for money because I've always earned my money. None of these guys have, but if you want to donate, do, but know that I cannot take your money for nothing. I'll give you books. I'll give you content. Literally, you'll get courses that are worth a lot of money, but I give that to you because it's my way of saying the long game here is for you guys to get educated. And that's really the goal here. But donate whatever you want to donate because, we make $1 go to the level of $10,000. We don't have consultants here. And when I play this video, you'll see this video was developed by us organically, but it'll give you an idea of what our run for president is. So let me play this for you. And Scott, 1 second, I'll be right back. Who would have ever thought I'd be running for president of the United States of America? I was born a low-caste untouchable in India's caste system, a system of aristocracy, oppression, and racism. My name is Dr.SHIVA Ayyadurai. I'm an MIT PhD, a Fulbright scholar, a scientist, engineer, entrepreneur, and inventor. My family and I left India to come to America on my 7th birthday. I grew up in the working-class neighborhoods of New Jersey, playing baseball, mowing lawns, painting houses, and coding software. My friends and neighbors are blacks, Italians, Irish, people of all races. As a 14-year-old, I wrote 50,000 lines of software code to create the world's first email system and was awarded the first U.S. copyright for email, recognizing me as its official inventor at a time when copyright was the only way to protect software inventions. I did that long before I ever came to MIT, revealing that big innovations can occur anytime, any place, by anybody. Growing up, I saw politicians dividing us by race and religion in both America and India, to have us fighting each other while they remained safe in their gated communities and in their playgrounds of Hollywood, Martha's Vineyard, and Silicon Valley. I'm a fighter. I fought racism and exposed their imperialist wars, fought for workers, and put my life on the line against global corruption. I never wanted to run for political office. All that changed when I saw working Americans as never before being duped by the establishment and the not-so-obvious establishment. Across left and right, we were being sold out and made to forget why we came to America and why America existed. Lawyers, academics, billionaires, celebrities, and politicians, elites, Clintons, Kennedys, Bidens, Obamas, Bushes, black and white have hijacked America. They printed trillions for their friends. They delivered crumbling infrastructure, corruption, and racism. They've transferred trillions to themselves, dividing black and white, fear-mongering, and fake science. Lockdowns and censorship, dirty air, food, and water, pushing drugs upon us, making us sicker. We've been sold out. One set of rules for them and another for us. We deserve a warrior with a history of courage in putting everything on the line for you, who believes in you, not them, who has created a movement bottoms up for truth, freedom, health. I've exposed their lies at the right time, never waiting until it was popular. I've exposed their false gods who exist to lead you back to them. I've exposed their fake science of lockdowns and masking and provided you solutions to fight them and win and protect your immune system, saving millions. I exposed Fauci, galvanized the Fire Fauci campaign when others remained silent. When they stole our election, we sued the government and Twitter in our historic 2020 federal lawsuit, exposing in bare view the government and big tech censorship infrastructure, the unholy alliance between government and social media companies. Where was Elon and his grifters? They stood by the sidelines and did nothing. They did not use their megaphones to help us when it could have made a big difference. Now our movement grows for truth, freedom, health, independent of all of them. Every day, millions are learning the science of systems, the knowledge the elites do not want you to have, so you may learn how to think, stand up, and fight, independent of the establishment of left and right and their fake heroes. Now it's time for you to join the movement, to win back America, to win back truth, win back freedom, win back your health. That's why I'm running for President of the United States. This race is about you. This race is about truth, freedom, health versus power, profit, control. We've had enough. They think we'll fall in line and vote again for their lawyers, celebrities, billionaires, and chosen ones from above. We choose our heroes from below, from the rank and file, who do what is right at the right time, not when it's convenient and popular. They can never represent us. What America needs is a movement by the working people, for the working people, who are educated, organized, decentralized, and fight for independence from their systems of control. And that movement exists. It's ready for you. We don't need them. We need us to go bottoms up, neighbor to neighbor. My journey, your journey are all the same. It's our time. It's time we had one of us. It's time to win back truth, freedom, health, to win back America. Be part of this historic movement, all the way to our victory on November 5th, 2024. If you're an American citizen, pledge your vote now for Dr. Shiva, the independent candidate for U.S. President. No matter where you live, you can be a part of this. Volunteer as little as 20 minutes a day. Don't delay. This is Dr. Shiva, and I approve this message, paid for by Dr. Shiva for President. So Scott, someone just texted me. They said, because this guy, Jimmy Dore, has been bending over for fucking booby. Someone said, "Oh, Jimmy Dore said he's trying to have you on his show." Really? Let's see.
Do it.
Well, we'll see. Awesome. We'll see if he wants to do that. Because what's happening is Booby is literally paying off social media influencers.
Gotcha.
Makes sense. And what's happened is social media has become a banana republic now. And that's what these guys have done, particularly on Twitter. Twitter is a platform for politics, right?
Totally.
So you boost people if they say the right things. And that's it's fascinating because the legal system doesn't fully understand this. But we have a very important lawsuit that's going to come up. We're going to escalate our lawsuit where the judge tried to screw us in Massachusetts. He gave us an initial victory. We're going to go right after DHS and CISA. So keep an eye out for that.
Awesome.
I'll continue using myself as my own lawyer, where I was more successful than taking these fucking douchebag lawyers who always sell out.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I want to talk to you about real quick. So there's another project I'm involved in, and it entails another show. Have you ever heard of Unjected? Unjected.com?
No, what is that? Sounds
okay.
Like a cool name. Yeah,
go check it out. Unjected.com.
Yeah.
So it is the world's first unvaccinated dating website. So got launched back in 2021. I got involved with them. We do a show called The Unjected Show with the founders of it. And it's two moms that live out in Maui and out in Hawaii. They're the coolest people ever. The Unjected Show is so awesome. We've had like some really big guests on so far. We had John Stockton from the Utah Jazz on and everything. Like it's been really like a really popular show so far. I got involved with Unjected. Now I'm like one of the heads of Unjected. I'm like one of the head people there. And we just relaunched the dating site about 2 weeks ago because we had some sabotage from one of the developers. We had to pull it all down. We got a big partner, the Wellness Company. Familiar with the Wellness Company?
No, I'm not. Yeah.
Okay. Well, they came in and they provided a lot of like developer support. So we just relaunched the site. So I guess just wanted to pitch to you a couple things. So one, we'd love to have you on that show. That would be awesome because like it's you'd be fun. We take calls from the audience. It's like a fun, laid back like dating show where we more like give dating advice and stuff like that. But we talk about like the crazy world of dating and being an unvaccinated person dating in this crazy world. And so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and
I get a lot of these questions on my people ask me.
Yeah. So I think you'd like that quite a bit. And then also the second thing is that we are going to be opening up to have like ambassadors. So like, I don't know how much affiliate stuff you do, but if you'd be interested in if you ever shout out or promote Unjected,
yeah. So Scott,
you can get commission for that.
Yeah. So why don't we do this? The show sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
Let's do a follow-up with Heather.
Okay, cool. I'll follow up with her.
Yeah. Follow up with Heather.
I'll do that.
But there's probably some cool things we could do. But
totally.
I think the key thing here is, I think people have a lot of, we're finishing up a paper and actually showing how the spike protein causes CVD, with using cytosol, cardiovascular thrombosis, CVT. But the reality is the body is resilient.
Absolutely.
But the issue is, are you supporting it with the right inputs to build that resilience?
Exactly.
Right. That's the key here. It's and what do you do for the future of your children to build that resilience?
Exactly.
And they're very, very simple things people can do. So we can probably talk about that too.
Totally. Yeah, right on. Yeah, I'll follow
All
up
right.
with Heather. I just wanted to put it on your radar.
Yeah,
I think,
sure.
so
Thanks,
awesome.
Scott. Sounds
All right,
good.
thanks. Have a good day. Appreciate it.
All right, to everyone. Oops. I think that's it here. So to everyone listening there, that was my meeting with the interview with Scott Armstrong. I hope this is valuable. And please recognize that we have a huge opportunity in 2024. Again, in closing, go to shivaforpresident.com. We need to get on the ballot in every state. So we got a lot of work to do. So you can do, some people love what we do, love all the work I do, and you are lazy and they just want to give money. Great. Go give money. Go to shivaforpresident.com. If you want to take the course, we support you in that. Some people want to get on the ground. They want to get their hands dirty. You can go to shivaforpresident.com. Again, download this bumper sticker. It's very simple. Put it on the back windshield of your car. And other people want to meet people. So you can download, oops, there's a light coming in. You can download this flyer and you can hand it out to people in your neighborhood, right? This is old school, but it's very, very powerful. It actually works. All right, everyone. So please get educated, get activated, or be enslaved. And obviously, I don't want that for people. So thanks, everyone. Be well, be the light.